And here we go. 16. Sed juventutum. So, but the youth in the accusative with a relative accusative quam for the female word of juventus. So these young men, which ut supra diximus, which I've said above, elexerat, he had lured or seduced these juventum, these young men, multis modus mala facinora docubat. So it's an imperfect here. So he taught them, or it's even stronger than taught because there's the E in front. So he taught them multis modus, in many ways, facinora mala, which are bad deeds in many ways. So could even be crimes besides these bad habits. Ex illis, from these people, testis signatores qui falsos commodare. So this means he provided commodare. It's taken infinitive, maybe because he's teaching them and it involves errata oblique. So from these, he got them to provide falsos, testis, and signatores. Testis is a witness, and signators are people who they provide evidence for wills and other sort of things like this. So it's in the legal context. He's corrupting them. Fidem, which is your trust and loyalty. Fortunas is the fortunes. Pericula is dangers. Habere, another infinitive here. So to consider their trustworthiness and their fortunes and even danger to be considered vilia, cheap. Post, so after he's done this, ubi when famam and pudorem attriverated, so the fame or the rumours or reports about them, eorum's just the genitive plural. Attriverated means he had worn down their famam, which probably would be the reputation, and their shame in their pudorem. Maiora alia imperabat, so here's a final verb. So he ordered them to do maiora alia, other things which are maior, which is bigger. So from these people which he lured in, he taught them in the ways of evil deeds, got them to provide false witnesses and testimonies, consider their worthiness and their fortunes and taking risks as cheap, and after he had worn down all their honesties and the good things that could be said about them and their shame, he ordered them to do even worse things. Okay, C causa peccandi, which is a gerund. So if the cause or reason for the peccandi, which is like sinning or wrongdoing, in the present time, minus superbat. So minus just means if it's a small reason or there's not really a cause for doing wrongdoing, superbat, he would supply it, you might want to say. Nihilo minus, which means nonetheless. In sontus, to the innocent, sicut sontit, as if they were sontus, guilty. He could circumvenere, which is a fourth. Sometimes it means going around, but it's often meant to trick or deceive them. So he's cheated them, basically. So if there wasn't a reason in the present time for doing something wrong, he would supply it. Nonetheless, he would cheat the innocent people as if they were guilty. And jugulare, which literally means cutting the throat, so he'd kill them. Scilicet, it's an adverb, means obviously or something of that nature. Ne per otium torpescerent menos or animus. Most of these ones that go scur in the middle come from the third declension. So that not that the menace or animus, so not that the hands or the souls or the minds per otium through leisure would grow sluggish, torpescerent. Gratuito is an adverb, you don't see that often. It means gratuitously in English. So, potius malus and crudelis erat. So, gratuitously he would rather be malus and crudelis, which is evil or, and cruel, you might want to say. Okay, so we'll have a daily dictionary word out of the adverb gratuito, means without pay, gratis, gratuitously. You can Google it if you don't know what it means. So he would gratuitously prefer to be evil and cruel, so that in this leisure time, the hands and minds of his these people he'd corrupted didn't grow dull. Here's Amicus socius qui confisus Catilina. So Catilina, with this semi-deponent confessus, so he was confident or relying on these friends and allies, which we see there. These tend to take datives. Similar at the same time, quod, because eis alienarum, which is debt, per omnis terros ingens erat. The debt through all the lands was ingens, was huge, and quod, and because pleriqui, most Sullani milites, most of the soldiers of Sulla, again we see the N in the adjectival form of a genitive here in this case. So most of the soldiers of Sallust, largius suo usi, looks like they'd used up all the things that had been bestowed. Rapinarum and victory veterus memoros. So the veterans were mindful of, or remembering, mindful of their rapines and their victories. So if you use it that way, it takes the genitive. So these are things that they'd snatched or ran away with or stole, the rapines and the victories, victories in English. So ex optabant, they were choosing or hoping for civil bellum. Neuters have E in them there, so civil bellum means civil war. Oprimunde, we have a gerundive here, re publica concilium cepit. So he took a plan, cepita concilium, of crushing the Republica, which is the Republic. In Italia, with the ablative, so in Italy, nullus exercitus. There's no army. Normally you'd have a fluid or something there. Pompeius, this would be Pompey, in extremis terris, in the far-off lands, further away lands. He was garabating Bellum, so he was waging war in further far-away lands. This was in 65 to 63 BC, in the war against Mithridates in Asia Minor in the Middle East. Okay, Ipsi, this would be Catiline himself. The Ipsi, he was Magnus Spes, had a great hope, potento, of seeking, the present participle, and the consultatum, which is a consulship. The senatus, the senate, fourth declension, nihil, nothing. Sanae means clearly or something like that. Sometimes it acts as an autem, so moreover or however. Senatus intentus, nothing. So clearly they were not intent on this. They weren't expecting anything. Tute tranquillitaque res omnes. So res omnes, everything was, tuta is safe, and tranquil, it's, tranquil means calm. But these things, these, it's a female thing like res is, but this, process, usually means furthermore or absolutely. It looks like absolutely here. But this absolutely was an opportuna to or for Catilinae. Okay. Igator, therefore, circuita, around Calends Junis, the calends of June. Calends is the first day of the month. El Caesar and C Figulo, which is Figulus Consolibus. This little ablative section means with El Caesar and Gaius Figulus as consuls. Primo, in the first place, he would appellare singulus. He would call on people singularly, one at a time. Hortare, this is the point, he would encourage alios, some of these other people, and alios others. Temptare, he would test them or tempt them. Opes suis, his own resources. The Imperatum Republica, the unprepared republic, and the Magna Premia Coniurationis docere. Docere means he would speak to them about it. Usually it means to teach or to inform. So he was addressing these people one at a time, encouraging some, testing out others. He was docere. He was teaching them about his own resources and how unprepared the republic was, and the great premia, the great rewards of conspiracy, coniuratus. Ubi, when satisfactorily explorata sunt quae voluit, when the things quae which voluit he wanted were explored satisfactorily, when he'd investigated into these things, into unum, into one, omnis convocat. So he convocated, he called together, con usually means together, omnes, everyone, into unum, into one group, one place. Quibus maxima necessitu, those with which had the maxuma necessitude, the greatest necessities, and plurumum audacia, and the biggest or most boldness, inorat, means they were there, they were in this one place he'd called them together. So the people who are desperate and very bold. Eo, to this place, convenere, he convened senatore ordinus, of the senatorial order, genitives, P. Lentulus Sura, P. Ortronius, L. Cassius Longinus, Gaius Cethegus, P. and Servius Sulla, Phili, sons of Servius Sulla, L. Varguentus, Q. Ennius, M. Porcius Lacer, L. Bestia, Q. Curius. Praeteria, besides this, so they were from the senatorial order, from the equestrian ordinine, from the equestrian order, M. Fulvius Nobilior, L. Statilius, P. Gabulus Capito, C. Cornelius, ad hoc. To these, many ex-colonies from the colonies and municipals from the cities, so many people from the colonies and the cities. Nobilis, they're noble, domi, of noble homes, basically. What have we got going on down here? Erant, praetera. So there were, besides this, complures, very many. Paulo, a little, occultius, comparatively a little more secreta, participants, concili huisci, of this council, of this gathering, or this plan, nobiles. So there were, besides this, there were complures nobiles. There were many noble people who did this a little more secretly, participated. Cause who? Magus dominations spes, who magus more spares the hope, hortibata were encouraged of domination or of power, quam, so magus and quam go together, more quam than inopia, which means lack of or poverty, or alia necessitudo, or other necessity. So they were doing this, these other nobles, they wanted power, and well, some people were driven on by poverty and these necessitary things, which we saw up there. Some of those necessitudo, which I stammered over. Caterum. Technically, it means the rest, so or more, but usually it just means but. But it looks like we've got a set here as meaning but. So you might say in addition or additionally. Juventus clerici. Mostly they were young men. Said but maxume nobilium, but especially maxume means especially they were noblemen. These youths. Favoured bat. They were favouring, which takes the dative. The inceptions of Catilinae, or they favoured Catiline in his beginnings, in his undertakings. Quibus, with which, this would be the young man, in otio, in leisure. We've got vel as correlatives, so this would be prepositions. Either of magnificence or molita, vivere copierat. So they had the copiousness, they had the resources, vivere to live magnificently and softly, if they wanted to, because they were noble, of course. But incerta pro certus, they preferred, remember they were favouring up here, so we have malabat, so they preferred incertainty, pro instead of certainty. Pro takes the ablative. And bellum quam pacem. So this malabant, preferring, takes two topics. They preferred uncertainty over certainty and war over peace, and war then peace. Okay. Fure. Etem means likewise. Ea tempeste in that time. Fure they were. Qui, those who, crederent, believed. M. Licinium Crassus, Lysias Crassus, non ignarum eus concilii fuisi. So, believing, and they're taking this into the accusative, but into the infinitive speech, accusative and infinitive. So those believed that Marcus Christian was not ignorant of this counsel, of this plan. Quia, because Pompeius invisus ipsi magnum exercitum ductabat, cuis vis opes voluisi contra illius potentiam crescere, simul confisum si Coniuratio valuisset, facile apud illos princem se fore. So it ended up in that last bit in English. What was it? Because quia Pompey invisus ipsi, basically he hated him. He was duck debating. He was leading a magnum exercise in a great army. Quis vis, of which type vis you want. You might want to say literally of who you want, or anyone you like. Voluisse. It wanted anyone to have these Ops resources against Ilias, against him, potentiam crescere. Okay, so that's what's going on. He wanted the power to grow of anyone who you would like against him. And at the same time, he was confisum, again, the semi-deponent. He was confident that if the Coniuratio, if this conspiracy valuisset, if it prevailed and was strong, facile, easily among illos principums se fore, easily amongst those people, himself, se fore, would be the principum, the leader